Gretchen, and welcome back to my channel. It is that time of the month again where I answer your body mod questions. If you are new here, I have been doing a monthly body mod Q&A for a very long time. However, I did take a break from it for about 7 months or so, but I have brought it back. Basically what happens during this is I take questions that I received either on the previous Q&A's video or I ask over on Instagram if anyone has any questions for me. These questions could be just about body mods in general, or they may be specific about my body mods and what I'm doing, but whatever questions you may have, that is the time to ask them and I may answer them in a video. So if you would like to ask a question for the next body mod Q&A in September, leave them in the comments below or follow me over on Instagram and wait for me to pop up the little box where you can ask your question there. And all of these are anonymous. They didn't used to be anonymous, but it's just easier for everyone, especially in case you have a question that you want to ask, but you don't really want your username out there. So this is entirely anonymous. I just got my conch pierced last week and I have so many plans for it already. Where are some shops you recommend for jewelry? Looking for a hoop when it heals. Also, did you struggle with cleaning the back portion of your ear as much as I am right now? So I feel like I'm an anomaly because I had the smoothest sailing with my conch piercing. I never had any problems with it. I never struggled with it at all. I think in the very beginning, within like the first 48 hours, it was really swollen and hurt a lot and had a tiniest of bump, but then all of a sudden, like at the 3-day mark, it just disappeared and everything was fine. So I do feel like I'm a little bit of an anomaly there. So I didn't struggle with cleaning the backside of it. However, I have heard that a lot of people deal with that same struggle. As for shops to shop from, it kind of depends. A lot of my jewelry does come from the shop where I get my piercings done. However, I do some shopping online. My personal favorites are Body Art Forms and Urban Body Jewelry. You can also find some really good pieces on Etsy, which honestly I need to shop there more because they've got some really cool things over there. But my go-tos online tend to be Body Art Forms and Urban Body Jewelry. I'm planning on getting a tragus and conch piercing, but how do you properly clean them once the long post is replaced for a shorter bar? I switched both of my helixes to a hoop very quickly and I never changed my root piercing after getting it done. With those longer bars, I can easily go around them with a Q-tip, but I'm really questioning how to properly clean it if I can't get a Q-tip around it. So I get where you're coming from on that. Honestly, you don't need to get like the Q-tip up underneath the jewelry. As long as you're cleaning around it and you don't notice any buildup, you should be fine. Now it's when you start noticing a little bit of buildup is when you might need to do a little bit of moving around. However, by that point, your piercing should be healed because remember, you're not switching your jewelry until at least the swelling has gone down and it has healed a bit. And also keep in mind these piercings, because they are cartilage, can take up to a year to heal, so make sure you're not changing it too soon. And then also, if your post is that short where there's not a whole lot of wiggle room, it may be too short and could cause more problems. So make sure that you're not getting a super short bar where it's like right up against the skin, because personal preference here, but I have found that I don't particularly like those. I like where there's slight little bit of wiggle room there. Not everyone is like that, but I have found that I have less problems when my jewelry has that little bit of wiggle room. But once it gets to the point of being completely healed and you're not noticing any kind of buildup or crusties or anything like that, you don't need to carry out the same aftercare that you do while it's healing. So you should be okay. When are you getting your second nostril piercing redone? Not a dang clue at this point. I thought about getting it done before I get married in November, and I still technically could, but I also worry about a piercing bump because we all know that nostril piercings are notorious for them. So I may not even do it until after the wedding at this point. And if my face is asymmetrical, then so be it. Whatever, it's not the end of the world. But I really don't know. Time has gotten away from me this year and a lot of my focus has been elsewhere other than getting my nostril re-pierced. Did you get freckle tattoos? I know you already have them, but not showing through your makeup. It looks nice. So yeah, I do have freckles, like natural freckles. My makeup covers it up. You can't really see it. However, what you're referencing in that video, so if anyone's confused, in the last body mod Q&A video, I had freckles on my face, but those are not tattoos. That was actually a freckle pen from ColourPop. It's a new makeup thing that I bought relatively recently and I've been wanting to try it, so I tried it in that video and it looks pretty good, but I'm still trying to work with it. But they are not tattoos. That is just makeup. There was a time where I contemplated getting freckle tattoos. I just never did it. I got my lips tattooed instead. What will be your last piercing, do you think? Honestly, I don't know, because like I've gone a really long time now. It has been over a year since my last piercing and I'm not in any rush to like go get another one other than my right nostril redone, but I don't know what my last one would eventually be. Just because, you know, I could be in my 60s and still getting them. You know, I could go 10 years without getting one, then all of a sudden want to get a new one. So I don't really know what my last one would be. Can you sleep with any plugs other than silicone? You absolutely can. While your stretch lobes are healing, I definitely don't recommend silicone at all. If they're like completely healed, you don't even need to sleep with anything in. There are nights where I don't have anything in my lobes. I do prefer sleeping in the silicone ones just because they have a little bit more flexibility to them and they don't like press into my face or my neck or anything like that, because they do have that flexibility. But you can definitely sleep in other things. For the longest times, I slept in steel ones, I slept in titanium ones, I slept in glass and stone. I do find that the glass ones pop out a little bit easier. You don't have to just sleep in silicone. You can sleep whatever you're comfortable with. What are your thoughts about having mixed style tattoos, mixed with color and black and gray tattoos? I think it looks really cool. I only have one like technical black and gray tattoo, and that's my book over here on my wrist. I think it looks cool to kind of mix them. I know that's not everyone's cup of tea. Personally for me, I love my colorful tattoos, but I love the look of black and gray tattoos, and I've thought about getting some black and gray tattoos. So I think it's kind of cool when people do step outside of the norm and mix the two styles together. Because you usually only see people who do color and you see people who do black and gray, and you don't really see that mix in between of having both. I think it looks pretty cool. How do you know if you have a reputable piercer? So I did an entire video about finding reputable piercers. So you can go check that out if you're curious in how to find one. If you already have a piercer and you're just wondering if they are a reputable one, you know, some simple things that you can do: go online, look at the reviews of the shop that you're currently getting pierced at, see what reviews are saying. Now, there are going to be days where someone leaves a crummy review because maybe the piercer was having a bad day or just something went wrong and the customer is blaming how it was done and all that kind of thing. So reviews help a little bit. Word of mouth definitely helps. And then also when you walk into the shop, like, how do you feel when you're in there? Do you feel like, oh, this is a nice, clean, sanitary place? Like, I feel comfortable being here. A lot of it maybe even like gut feeling. If the piercer looks like they know what they're doing, they're kind of carrying out even just the basic steps to doing a piercing. Like, they're wearing gloves, they're sanitized stations, they're sanitizing you, they're using a one-use implement, things like that. I love your arm with the Macabre theme. Do you have a favorite tattoo from there? I don't even know. That's kind of hard because I really love my tarot card, because the Queen of Wands is my favorite tarot card and I absolutely love that. But I also love my Plague Doctor because I just love the design of Plague Doctor, so I don't really know. And then of course I have my carnelian crystal. That was mostly just a filler just because this was like a really skinny space in here that I needed something in there. But I do love it. Don't get me wrong. I also love my little crow sitting on a skull up there. I gotta think of some more things to put down here. I don't know. I like... That's a hard one. Maybe my Plague Doctor though, just because the process to get that one was a lot. I was supposed to get it before everything shut down in 2020. A little ironic getting the Plague Doctor, right? How do you know if your piercing design plan is going to result in too many piercings? Ooh, that's an interesting question. I guess it kind of depends on what you consider too many piercings. Now, if we're talking to my grandma thinks I have like 20 some too many piercings. Basically, she only wants my lobes done. So I think it kind of depends on what you consider too many piercings. What's gonna be too many to one person may not be to another. If you find that there's a lot of overcrowding, I would say that's an indicator that maybe there's too many and the ear can't support it. But other than that, I think it just kind of depends on what you feel is a good amount. If you think yourself, like you're looking at it and you're like, that might be too many, maybe it is for you. How bad does a finger tattoo hurt? Thinking about getting one. I have an entire video about finger tattoos, but that's coming from someone who only has like 2 literal tattoos and they're very tiny on their fingers, so like just keep that in mind. I personally didn't think it was bad. But again, I have 2 tiny ones. I have one here, which really needs to be reworked bad. And then I have one over here. Honestly, they were not bad. I will say that this one was worse. Like the closer to the fingertip, I felt was worse than this one. This one was like nothing. But those 2 little ones that I have, definitely didn't think they were a problem. They go by pretty fast too. But if anyone with way more finger tattoos than myself would like to drop a comment below, definitely feel free to do that. Would you ever get any of the heavier body mods such as tongue split, ear pointing? I've answered this one a few times, and as much as I like the look of those, I really like the elf ears, the ear pointing. I like that one a lot. I don't think I would get any of those done. That doesn't mean that I don't appreciate them. They're just not for me. What is the healing process for a conch piercing? I have several several videos dedicated to conch piercings, so feel free to go check them out over here. I have a comprehensive guide all about conch piercings, and then I have an entire video about my personal experience with my conch piercing. Does the metal embodied jewelry set off the metal detectors at airports? This question makes me giggle just because this is one that when I was a middle school librarian, this is a question that so many students asked me. I don't know, it's funny to me, but no, it doesn't. The buckles on my boots set off the metal detectors at airports, but my piercings do not. What do you think about people who pierce their pets? I think they're irresponsible, and I think they're absolute. I will have to bleep myself with that one. It is absolutely inhumane. The animals cannot and did not consent to that. They can't process that pain. They don't know why their human is inflicting that upon them, and I think it is absolutely disgusting. After your VSG and losing so much weight, have you experienced loose skin? Big time. So I still consider my VSG a body mod because I definitely had 80% of my stomach removed, so hey, we'll toss it in there. But yeah, I definitely have dealt with loose skin. I have gained a little bit of weight back and filled out a little bit better, which honestly I thought would upset me at first, but really it hasn't. Like, I filled out areas that brought me a lot of insecurities because it was so saggy, and then I gained a little bit of weight back, especially over pandemic. I feel like I look better now and it filled out a little bit more. So yes, I did experience some loose skin. It did bring on some insecurities for me, but they've gotten better. Still doesn't mean that all of my loose skin is like gone or anything like that. There's still definitely some there. Considering getting my nose pierced soon, any tips? Again, kind of like the conch question, I have a bunch of videos about the nostril piercing. I have a comprehensive guide to the nose piercing. I have a video all about my own experience with my nose piercing. So if you're very curious about that, go check it out. And my big tip for any of these is don't mess with it. Clean it. That's it. Don't mess with it. Thoughts on ear asymmetry? My piercings are all asymmetrical. What's on this ear is not over on this ear. So personally, I'm down for it. I'm assuming that's what you're asking about. Not having like matching piercings on either side, because nothing matches on either side. I personally like it. As a side sleeper, how do healed piercings not get cranky at you randomly from sleep? So mine do. My most recent piercing, which is about a year old now, still flares up because it gets pissed off when I sleep on my left side, and that is my second forward helix that I got. It still flares up because it gets so mad. So I've had to sleep with like an airplane pillow, like the donut. You put your ear right into the hole and sleep that way. It's helped a lot, but when I think that everything is healed, everything's fine, all of that, I take it away and it flares back up. So it's a struggle. I try and sleep on my right side, but I do kind of toss and turn. And last question is, getting my nose pierced for the first time, going for a stud. How is the healing and care? And again, kind of like with the last question, asking for any tips. I do have those videos, so please feel free to go check those out. Those videos are specifically dedicated to said piercing. Healing and care, just a short version of that is healing and care can be pain, a problem, just because nose piercings are prone to piercing bumps and getting inflamed and irritated pretty easily. It's right out there on your face. It's kind of the first thing that anything comes across. So the big thing is to not mess with it too much, to not over clean it, but also don't neglect it. So that is it for this month's Body Mod Q&A. Thank you all so much for submitting questions for this video. Again, if you have any questions for the next Body Mod Q&A, be sure to leave them in the comments below. Follow me over on Instagram, wait for the question box to go up, and you can ask over there as well. Special thank you to my patrons. You can help support the channel on Patreon while having access to videos early, viewing Patreon-only content, and more. But that is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to go down there and hit that subscribe button, as well as that notification bell, so YouTube will let you know when I upload next. But until next time, bye all!